Hiya! Welcome! Got a fairly sizable box here from those purveyors of pop culture goodness, or as they would put it, rad collectibles. In Australia, of course, I'm talking about PopCultcha. A couple of pops in here from lines that I've been a long time collector in. One of them's a 2-pack, the other one is not a 2-pack, but it's a special pop. Let's get it open. Can't remember the total price. These are both new releases, so including postage, there probably wasn't much change at a £60, which is a lot, but even with international postage, that's not too bad really for what these are. One of these pops will be out of box for me as well. I'm not too worried about the condition of that. There's the 2-pack. There's the other. Close the knife up because safety first, and I'll show you the first one. It is a Funko exclusive. I know it's a Funko shop, it's not. It's an exclusive from somewhere in America, and this is the new international Funko sticker on it, which is a lot better than the previous one. But this is a WWE 2-pack of The Undertaker and Paul Bearer. So when I saw that this was coming out, I was pleased, very pleased, because Paul Bearer had never come out as a pop before. I was kind of wishing he'd come out on his own though, rather than in a 2-pack with his Charge Mark Undertaker Callaway there, because I'd already got an Undertaker pop. I've actually passed that on. That was part of my birthday present to my best friend. The other pop, I got him as well as my old Undertaker. I bought him Dude Love Funko Pop as well from Pop Figures. That was what I unboxed, but I didn't show in the last Pop Figures video. And funnily enough, I'm actually recording this on my friend's birthday as well, so if you're watching, Dan, happy birthday my friend. Right then, so Undertaker and Paul Bearer. Now then, what have we got in the back here? Oh, I thought we might have some new pops to look at, but no, these are ones that I've either got or I don't need for another reason. So Alexa Bliss, I've got an older variant. I do have Bianca Belair. Dude Love, I've got an older Mick Foley. It is good that they've brought out all the different faces of Foley, but to me that's still getting more than one of each character. So as tempting as it is to get Dude Love, Cactus Jack, Mankind, I won't. Got Dusty Rhodes, got Matt Riddle, and I've got an older version of Randy Orton. So let's get Taker and his manager Paul Bearer, aka William Moody, out of this box. Yes, these will be out of box pops because all my wrestling ones are. Normally I don't tend to open up multi-packs. This one has come with a pin as well. If I can get Taker and Bearer out safely enough, I will show you the pin. Probably won't get it out actually because it'll probably be difficult to wedge it back in this plastic, but hopefully I'll show you now without there being too much glare on the box. I will close the box up as well, as I'll be putting that in storage after. So if you can see that there, it's it'll be the WrestleMania 8 badge, is that? No, WrestleMania 9, sorry. Oh, what a WrestleMania to commemorate. I actually think WrestleMania 9 gets an unfair review from people, really. Okay, so most of the wrestling on it was pretty bad, but I did like the outdoor Caesar's Palace setting. But I still think it's weird that they've brought out Taker and Bearer in their WrestleMania 9 get-up, as that remains one of Undertaker's worst matches ever, let alone worst WrestleMania matches. I'll just put that box down and we'll have a look at the pops themselves. It doesn't look like either of these need a stand. Taker's quite heavy. So yeah, this is actually the second Undertaker I've got, but as I say, I did send on my first one, which was the hooded Undertaker, to my friend as part of his birthday present. And yeah, it's classic old school Taker, pun intended really, with the big hat with the purple band around it. There's a name for a hat like that. I don't think it's Stetson, because that's a cowboy thing and it doesn't quite look like a cowboy hat to me. If someone knows the name of this type of hat Undertaker's wearing, let me know. It's too big to be a trilby as well. I'm no hat expert. He's got his long dyed brown hair. We know it's dyed because Undertaker in real life is actually a ginge. And then he's got his purple gloves on and also purple and black boots, and he's wearing his Mortician's tie or Undertaker's tie. Black trousers, long black trench coat with purple pockets really. Some nice detail on that. I like this better than the other Undertaker I had, even though that was a very unique looking one with the hood and the completely white eyes to signify him rolling his eyes back in his head. But I do prefer this one, but I would have been happy to keep that other one if Paul Bearer had been released as a solo pop, but it was only out in this 2-pack, at least at the time of me recording this anyway. Really happy with that Undertaker, I think that's great. So look at Paul Bearer. Oh, he's very light compared to Undertaker. Feels like half the weight of him. Yeah, the legendary and long-time manager and also sometimes nemesis of the Undertaker. He also had stints managing his son Kane. Vader he managed for a little while. Mankind, of course, he also managed, and that was just in WWF. William Moody, or Percy Pringle, whatever you want to call him, before he became Paul Bearer, was quite a successful manager prior to joining the WWF in the early 90s. And I think he did actually work as a mortician for a time in real life, so this was the perfect character for him, really. He's holding the Undertaker's urn. I do like how he's got this sort of ghoulish eyeshadow on there, and he's got this sort of white makeup on as well to really make him look pale, just like he did back in the early 90s. And then he's got a relatively conservative looking suit on, sort of a dark grey blazer, white shirt, red tie, matching trousers, black shoes, apart from just the weird face with all the, what would you call it? I've forgotten what the white stuff is that people use for makeup. Foundation, that's the one. Oh, brain's not working right today. Is it ever? Oh, can't forget his little sort of Gomez Adams type moustache as well. I mean, that is just one of those pops where you look at it and within half a second, if you know the guy, if you know the character anyway, then you can name who this pop is right away. I think that's a brilliant 2-pack, and one I'll be very happy to put together in one of my wrestling shelves behind me. Undertaker and Paul Bearer. So I said we've got 2 pops to show you, not counting the fact that Undertaker and Paul Bearer are technically 2 pops, but they're in a 2-pack, but I mean another one entirely. And I'm talking about this one in the Pop Albums range. It's yet another one from Notorious B.I.G., number 45, Born Again. I've spoke many times about how much I love the Pop albums. I did get rid of a lot last year simply due to space and the fact that I was trying to collect them all the ones that are this, what I would call standard size anyway. And it was just becoming overwhelming, and I was getting ones kind of for the sake of it, so I decided I would thin that collection down a bit and just collect the albums from Funko that I really, really wanted, that I was into. I do own this album on vinyl, as I do all the Notorious B.I.G. studio albums. I would have shown that on the channel probably a couple of years ago at least. Quick look at the back. It's the usual drill here where we've got the hard acrylic case. It has got some cellophane over it, which I will take off later because I always put these into their own specially sized pop protectors, and I do have one of those left, I think. So this was technically B.I.G.'s 3rd studio album, but it came out at least a couple of years after he died initially. I want to say 1999. And I know he died in early-ish 97. So really only one album came out in his lifetime, that was Ready to Die, and then Life After Death, that came out I think not long after he died, and then a couple of years or so afterwards it was Born Again, which is classed as a studio album, but it's very posthumous, and really it's using old unreleased Biggie vocals from the early mid-90s with production from, you know, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs, whatever the hell he was calling himself back then, and others associated with Bad Boy Entertainment. So the usual drill for the figure itself is it's replicating the pose of the album sleeve. Biggie's got his hand out like that. He's wearing a gaudy chain, black shirt with like golden studs, and looks like even his shoes or trainers are gold. I mean, obviously he's not wearing any trainers on the album sleeve, but you can't really not give him a bottom half, trousers and shoes for the pop itself, because that would just look odd, like he was decapitated or something. Actually, I don't know if that's appropriate, but oh well. Moving swiftly on. So there we are. Really happy to get that. I've got all 3 of the Biggie pop albums now. Ready to Die, Life After Death and Born Again, and I've got those albums, as I say, on vinyl as well. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this look at 2 new release pops, and didn't take long to come from PopCultcha this time. A pretty speedy delivery all the way from Australia. That's not always guaranteed, as you know. Sometimes stuff can be sat at Melbourne Airport for a time, The last time I ordered from PopCultcha, it was sat at Heathrow Airport for seemingly about a month or so. This one just seems to have flown by, really, quite appropriately. Special thanks go, as they always do, to my wonderful subscribers and my generous, amazing patrons. Please see all my Funko affiliates for figures, protectors and much more in the description text box. Also there is a referral link for HMV. You can get Funko Pops from there. I wouldn't personally. I like to get records and things like that from there, and the occasional DVD and Blu-ray. And of course there's also a referral link for contents insurance, a link for my Facebook group and one for my Patreon page. I'm gonna go now. Gotta put Taker and Bearer, who really should be displayed like that if I'm being correct, into a cabinet behind me, and then I've got to find some room for the Biggie Pop album Born Again in that display. Oh, what fun. And I do hope that all of you will join me again next time for my next Funko Pop unboxing. Cheers everyone. See ya!